names I know and recognize. So tonight I thought I would do one of my little lives that I was doing last year, where I just chat a little bit about the upcoming full moon that we have, share a little bit of information on it. I've done a little bit of brainstorming for myself, so just sharing some of that inspiration, which hopefully might give you some ideas of things you might like to do or feel inspired to do at this particular full moon, or somewhere around there anyway. Hey Liz, welcome honey. So we have a full moon. It's coming up in just a few days time. It will be here in Australia this Tuesday, the 14th of June. It is a super full moon in the sign of Sagittarius, and it will be at 9:51 p.m. in the evening. So I have looked up a couple of the other dates and times as well. So in London it will also be on the 14th of June, but for them at about 12:51 p.m. and in New York it will still be on the 14th of June, but about 7:51 a.m. So now the reason I like to mention the time as well, it's worth noting, is that it's not so that you can necessarily have to plan to do any of your spell work at like 9:51 p.m. I certainly don't do that, but I like to get a gauge as to when that peak of energy is going to be on that day. So for instance, with it being at 9:51 p.m, that's kind of ideal to be able to do it that particular evening if you've got the time. But if it was, say, a time in the morning, you might, if you've got the time, look at doing your spell work in the morning or during the day if you've got time, because of course we don't have to do spell and ritual work and magical work of an evening. We often like to work with that moon energy and hopefully get out under that moon energy, but we don't have to. And if it was, for say it was a time like 3 or 4 in the morning, then sometimes I actually try and time my spell work to be the evening before, because I feel like I'll be more in that peak of energy like the night before. Or I might do something when I first get out of bed and plan to, get into my spell work fairly quickly, just depending when that moon energy is. So please know it's not about having to do your spell work right at that particular time. It can just give you a bit of a gauge as to when that peak of energy will be, and you might prefer to plan it, say, morning or afternoon or evening if you've got the time and ability to. Also remember that with our full moons we actually have a 3-day window to really utilize that energy. So our full moon is on Tuesday, is when it's completely full. So you could actually utilize that full moon energy the day before. For us that'll be Monday, or the day after. So you've got the 3 days, the Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday is when we'll be in that peak of full moon energy, and you could certainly do any of your spell work or energy work, manifesting, whatever it is you could do within those 3 days. You would still be in that peak of full moon energy. So please know, if you've got a crazy busy day on the Tuesday, that it's okay. You don't necessarily lose out on being able to work with that full moon energy. So that's important to mention as well. Now this full moon is a super moon because a couple of times a year we have a super moon, and it is just that the moon and the earth are actually the closest for the whole of the year. So we usually have a couple of those where the moon's very close. It's just the way it orbits, that they'll be the closest for the year. So June and July, our full moons are actually super full moons, which means that they're closer, which means that we've got an amplification of energy. So the energy will be stronger because the earth and the moon are closer together. So there's less distance that energy has to travel from the moon to reach us. So of course we're going to have extra energy to be able to use. So it's a really powerful time to do some of your spell work, or to charge up, say, moon water, charge up your crystals, charge up your sacred tools, do some divination, do some meditation, do whatever you're feeling called. It's going to be an extra potent time. And of course full moons are ideal because they literally amplify our intent for anything. So it will put energy behind all intent, whether it's healing, clearing and releasing, whether it's trying to manifest and create something, bring something into your life, whatever it happens to be, you know, it's really going to amplify that energy. So it's an ideal time to do any kind of magical manifesting type of work is at your full moons, of course. Hey Laura, lovely to have you, sweetie. Hey Bron. Oh nice, the moon's nice and clear in Lakes Entrance. I'm pretty sure it's not here where we are, but it's been raining a lot here, but nice. So now, of course, some of the keywords sorry, that are particularly connected with the Sagittarius moon. Our keywords are things like expansion and publications, legal matters, generosity, optimism, charity, keeping the faith, expanding projects, travel and truth. And the Sagittarian full moon also will amplify things like healing of the liver, the thighs and the hips. So these are the areas that are going to be even more potent because the full moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So it's only going to add an even bigger boost of energy behind anything that is connected to these particular key areas. Not to say that your magic has to be connected to these key areas, but it's just going to add extra energy again. So I wanted to expand on this because I know sometimes people get lost with, you know, what do those key words mean, you know? Or how can I utilize that? So the very first thing, of course, I want to mention is Mystical Dragon. We've been doing our spell boxes every month and we're still doing those. And so this month for June, I felt really drawn to focus on that area of optimism with the Sagittarius full moon. So this is about helping to really uplift us and helping to bring in some optimism and some positivity into our lives and being able to look ahead with that positive outlook. So our full moon box has got all the instructions for how to do that particular spell that I've written, and it contains everything that you need, or very close to everything that you need, aside from like some bowls, to be able to do that particular spell. And I also have our YouTube video is up, where I actually take you through the process of being able to do that spell. So even if you haven't bought the box, you might want to have a look at the video if that's a focus that appeals to you, because you might already have the ingredients you need at home and be able to do that spell anyway. So that's an option. So optimism being, you know, bringing in positivity, being able to look ahead with optimism, all those wonderful things. Sagittarian energy is also an ideal time to travel. So literally we can be traveling around the Sagittarian moon, and that's going to be putting a lot of positive energy in behind your traveling. So you can literally be traveling. It doesn't have to be anything magical or for any magical reason, but the fact we've got a long weekend here, and if you're traveling, have been traveling or plan to be traveling over the long weekend, you know, you can actually call in some blessings, ask for protection while you're traveling with particular divinities. So some of the ones I would recommend is like Lord Ganesha, and Mercury and Hermes are two other good ones to call in just for all general travel as well. I don't have cards for everybody, I haven't been able to find them, but just a few ideas. If you're doing any kind of travel over water, like say taking a ferry or anything like that, or even going out on a fishing boat, then Neptune and Poseidon are really good energies to call and ask for their blessings. And then we've also got the god Helios, who is a great god to call on for any kind of ground travel. So when I say ground travel, that's like if you're traveling in the car, if you're going by the bus, maybe even on a train. He's a really good one to call on for protection for any of that kind of, you know, moving along the ground type of travel. Even walking, running, that sort of thing, you could call on him really. There might be other divinities you feel guided to. They're just to give you a few ideas. Also some crystals if you're doing any travel and you want to take some protection with you. Amethyst, malachite, smoky quartz are all really good ones for protection while we are traveling. If you happen to have one that's called amulet stone, that was always my favorite crystal for protection while traveling, but I have not been able to see, and I haven't seen any for years and years, but that is also another really good one called amulet stone as well. So any kind of travel, like we can do spell work to protect us while we're traveling. or just call in a particular divinity and ask for their protection and to be looked after while you're traveling. But obviously a really good time to be doing travel with that Sagittarius energy focused on travel. I wanted to mention the legal matters side of things as well, because I know there's quite a few people that are going through the legal system on some level, and so the Sagittarian moon can be a good one to do some magic work behind, putting positive energy into any kind of court cases, if there's contracts and things like that, or wills, anything that's to do with solicitors and that type of thing, then this is a good time to put energy behind that, having positive outcomes occurring. Goddess Mart is one of my favorite goddesses to work with on that level, but she's an Egyptian goddess. The only thing I like to say in relation to her is you need to be assured that you're in the right when you call in Goddess Mart, because she always brings the karmic justice to whatever it is. So if you're not 100% sure, or you're not at all, then Goddess Mart will make sure that the justice is served. So if you're not in the right, it may not go in your favor if you work with Goddess Mart. Another goddess, which is a Greek goddess, is Goddess Themis, who is a goddess of law and order and wisdom, and she's another really good goddess to call in if you're doing anything on that kind of legal side of things and trying to put positive energy into that. I have written a spell specific for that. We have a spell box at Mystical Dragon, which you can get online or in the store, that has got all that you need in that, and I've written a whole spell to be able to put positive energy behind legal issues and court matters and all those sorts of things if you are interested. A crystal that I would recommend working with if that's an area of focus for you is actually red jasper. Red jasper is a really nice grounding one. It actually does help to promote justice as well. Helps us to think with clear mind, which is very important, to have a little bit of confidence, to be grounded, and to help clear some of the worries and anxieties you might be having while you're going through those particular things. So red jasper can be a great crystal to have on you while you're going through any of that, or even charge up with a spell or at the full moon to be able to carry with you. Seeing solicitors and doing those sorts of things as well. Publications is another area that I really felt drawn to focus on. There's quite a few of them that I'm going to just briefly talk to you guys about tonight. Often I pick out 3 and focus on those, but tonight I've got a few extras. Publications is another area that we can focus on with the Sagittarius energy, and so by publications, obviously this is any kind of writing that you're doing. I mean, it could be specifically that, you're wanting to get published, and that's obviously going to be ideal Sagittarian energy. So in that case, you might want to particularly focus on doing some of the writing for your book, or doing proofreading and editing and those sorts of things that are connected to you getting published, putting energy behind that dream and that goal of being published. But it could be doing any kind of writing, would be very connected with this Sagittarian energy. So things like if you've got poetry that you write, maybe essays, anything else that you need to do on a publishing or writing kind of level, this is going to be the ideal time to do it. So doing that mundane task, obviously, which isn't necessarily magical. But while you're doing that, it's a good idea to call in some energies to assist you with that. So you might want to call in the creative muses, or some creative muses to assist you with that, to help inspire you so that the words keep flowing. Everything keeps flowing down on paper or on the computer. Creative muses are like beautiful elemental energies that can come through and can assist us in these ways. So they come through and help us with all kinds of creative and artistic things, not just writing. They can help with painting and drawing and literally any kind of art and craft and that type of thing, as well as our writing. So they can be a really positive energy to call on if you are doing writing. There is also a goddess that is specific to writing and being creative, which is an Egyptian one, Shashita. She's really great to assist you with any kind of writing or also being creative. So she's got that little bit of a creative muse aspect to her as well. And the goddess Sarasvati, which is a Hindu goddess, is also well known for things like writing and being creative as well. So these are beautiful energies that you could invoke. You could ask them. Doesn't even have to be formally through a spell or through a specific invocation, but you could ask them to come and assist you with your writing or with any creative thing that you're doing, or even asking you to help you in getting published and guiding you to the right publishers, if you need an artist, those sorts of things, being able to guide you in those right directions. So this would be the ideal time to do any kind of magical work and manifesting work behind any aspect of getting published or doing your writing. Now, I also felt really guided to talk a little about writer's block as well, because this would be another thing that's connected to publication that you could certainly focus on at the Sagittarius full moon. So once again, like I said, your creative muses, the two goddesses I've mentioned, you could just simply ask them to come in, or one of them to come in and to help you if you are having writer's block. But I've also just written a few little notes here for you guys. So I put together a little charm bag. This is something I've used in the past myself, that you could create and charge up at this full moon and have with you when you do your writing. So a writer's block charm bag would contain coffee, because coffee is really good to push. It's like pushing ahead, pushing through blocks, making things move, having movement behind them. So coffee, instant coffee works for that. Coffee beans, doesn't matter. Mint and marigold. Plus you want an item that connects to the sea, preferably something not too big, because your charm bag itself won't be too big. So I would suggest something like a seashell that you might want to collect to add in, because connecting with the water element, that's an element that really connects with being creative, which of course we're doing when we're doing our writing. We're being creative, we're working with that flow. And I would use orange as my color cloth that I wrap everything in, and I would even use probably an orange or even a yellow ribbon to tie it all up with as well, and charge it next to an orange candle. And of course you could ask one of the creative muses, Sarasvati, Sashita, to be able to please bless this particular charm bag to help you to move forward and move through any writer's block issues that you might have. So I feel like at least somebody out there might need that, because I felt inspired to pull that out and share that with you guys tonight. The very last area that I want to focus on with our Sagittarius full moon is it is an energy of expansion. So this is expansion really in anything you want to expand and have growing in your life. This Sagittarian full moon is going to be really ideal for that. So it might be the expansion of a particular project that you're in the middle of, that you've already started. Excuse me, it might be something you haven't quite started yet, and you want to start putting some energy into it, really, taking off very quickly. Or it could be something you're well and truly, maybe you've been working on for quite a few years and you really want it to expand and grow beyond where it is now. It doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of, it's an expansion energy. So you could approach this in adding energy to whatever it is, or you could approach this expansive idea as in clearing any blockages, or clearing anything that is stopping you from being able to really expand further in where you are. So you could approach it from either of those angles. I actually have a spell that I've already written for both of those angles, so adding energy to a desire or a goal, as well as being able to clear blockages. Even sometimes the blockages we might have fears that are blocking us from moving forward, or beliefs that are actually really hindering us being able to expand and move forward. Perhaps it's that we don't really have the confidence in ourselves. There's many reasons why it could be us, and something on a personal level that might be blocking it. So whichever way you felt guided, you could approach either way. And like I said, I've got a spell for both of those angles in Mystical Dragon's Book of Shadows. So Mystical Dragon, our Book of Shadows, is on our website. It's completely free. I think I have about 40 spells there now. So you could jump on our website and just click over to the Book of Shadows and have a good browse there of the spells available and see what inspires you. But there's definitely a focus for both of those angles if you wanted to look at, you know, that expansive energy with the Sagittarian moon. Being that this is also a very generous and charitable energy as well, the Sagittarian energy, I would also highly recommend just perhaps going with a real generous and open heart around this full moon, and just trying to perhaps do that real pay it forward kind of energy around this full moon, because universe will probably really surprise you and maybe bring back something a bit extra around this moon that's really got a strong energy of generosity and being charitable and being kind. So I would highly encourage just taking that kind of attitude with you in life, especially in the next few days, and see what might come back to you. Perhaps you'll have some of that energy be amplified and come back to you in a really positive way in your own life as well. So remembering, you know, it doesn't all have to be around spells and ritual at this time. Certainly it can be just about some of the mundane things we do, and this energy will still be amplified if we're still doing those, you know, more mundane things. But if they're connected to the full moon, it will certainly still be amplified. So that's kind of what I have for you guys tonight. So that was the ideas and the brainstorming that I have done in relation to this particular Sagittarian full moon. Did anyone have any questions around any of that? Anything I haven't covered well enough, or are you still got a question around? I know my internet always has a lag. So please remember that this is a great moon energy to amplify any area that you're feeling guided to. So even if nothing that I have mentioned tonight is really calling to you as a focus for you, you know, go with what you're feeling guided to. If the healing side of things is really something that you're feeling guided more to, like I said, liver, thighs and hips are going to be extra amplified with the Sagittarian energy, but you could do healing on any area because it is still a full moon, so it will still be very potent. I do have a couple of healing spells that are already in the Mystical Dragons Book of Shadows on our website. I highly recommend the Archangel Raphael healing spell I have in there. I've had lots of success with that particular spell in the past for all kinds of healing, as well as healing if you're wanting to send healing to somebody else, not just for yourself. So keep that in mind as well.